go. Oh dear, now that's something, isn't it? There we are. Well, it's all going very well, ladies and gentlemen, and as I'm sure you'll agree out there in TV land. And now it's time for our next guest. He's a man who's devoted his life to fighting evil, Satanism, materialism, and of course vampires. And even claims in the early 70s to have tracked down a vampire and driven a stake through its evil heart. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Highgate's answer to Mr. Van Helsing, Seán Manchester. I just spoke about your vampire business there. What do you actually do for a living?
I explore those regions which remain, even to this day, unexplored. I pioneer the frontiers which remain totally untrekked.
It sounds like the introduction for an episode of The Twilight Zone.
That's pretty close to the mark.
So, but what do you do for a living? How do you make your money?
I write about the investigations that I embark upon, but of the 70 investigations into vampires, only 2 have produced conclusive evidence that these creatures exist.
So you do say quite openly that vampires do exist, the supernatural type of vampires walk the earth.
When I speak of the vampire, I'm not speaking about psychic vampires that drain the energy from people, nor am I speaking of living vampires who are psychotics, who probably suffer from hemodipsia, which is a sexual thirst for blood.
Good heavens.
I'm talking about the undead, the most supernatural realm of the devil's emissaries.
So kind of like the guys we would see in Hammer horror films?
Not too far removed from that, but far worse, far, far worse.
So how do you find out about this kind of thing? I mean, how many vampires do you think there are in the world?
I don't carry out a census of vampires. It's been carried out in America, and I'm rather doubtful about its accuracy. As I say, I've only happened upon 2 genuine cases of vampirism in all my years of investigating.
I mean, people would, I think, be forgiven for greeting some of what you're saying with a degree of scepticism. They would think, you know, perhaps you're off your trolley there. How would you answer those sort of statements?
Well, when I first started out many years ago, I would have thought probably the same. It's not until you've come face to face with the undead that you can believe in such things. And until you have, it's easy to scoff and it's easy to disbelieve. But the vampire's most powerful weapon is, of course, your and other people's disbelief.
Well, let's have a look at some of the photographs you have here. Now, what's going on in this one? This is a woman with a couple of pimples on her neck, would that be right?
Yes, this is one of the earliest victims we had recorded, which was in the very late 60s, who did have nightly visitations from the infestation at Highgate, and was slowly being drained and suffered from pernicious anemia, until, that is, that the correct antidotes were applied, and she was none the worse for her visits. She was rescued.
So what would the correct antidote be? I always thought if a vampire in the movie, someone sucks your blood, that's it, you die, you wake up 3 days later or something, and there you are, you've got a cape on you.
Virtually any powerful symbol of the triumph of good over evil, which the victim and the vampirologist thoroughly believe in. I personally use Christian images and holy relics. The cross, for example,
yes.
The crucifix, which is an ultimate symbol of the triumph of good over evil, is hateful to the vampire. They shy from it. As with garlic.
Well, that's a lovely first bunch, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you think some people might find it a bit offensive that you use a symbol of their faith involving in what they would see as like supernatural hocus pocus? And
well, on the contrary, because I'm doing what the church did down the centuries very efficiently, but has ceased to do in our present time. And I've had to carry on the work, which they don't seem to be particularly equipped to any longer carry out. And in itself, this doesn't mean a thing, except that it's a symbol. And without the faith behind the symbol, it's not effective.
Do you have any of the other equipment in there? Do you have any of it?
Well,
do you actually use stakes and mallets and stuff?
The holy water, of course, burns the true vampire as some scorching acid. As you can see, I've used up my stock there.
That's a lovely old bottle, isn't it? Where do you get that? You get it in odd bins or somewhere, do you?
No, that's been knocking around. I was born in a very old house.
It looks remarkably like English tap water, doesn't it?
Well, all water is water. Holy water is simply water that's been blessed. And
right. It's a lovely bottle, though. Nice bit of Chianti in that would go down the tube, wouldn't it?
yes.
Do you have a steak in there you could show us?
Well, the hand steak, of course, is discreet and can be carried on one's person.
It is, of course.
And can be made of any wood, but Aspern, maple, whitethorn or hawthorn is preferable.
And do you carve these yourself?
Well, I have them made. The recent hurricanes have produced a lot of wood, which we're taking full advantage of. But the one that I used on the Highgate vampire was closer to the Van Helsing, as we call it, because this is the approved...
Look at the size of that one.
Yes, it's a whopper.
Well, now, how do you carry this around with you?
Well,
I mean, surely they'd see you coming with this stuff down your trousers and everything, wouldn't they?
Well, if you want the secret, I use a cricket bag. But
good heavens! But what about the steak?
It's not. Well, the problem with this one is you have to be darn accurate between the 4th and 5th rib. Right. This one, you don't even have to open the lid practically. That just does the job. Yeah.
Now we're talking actually about something. I mean, is there no room of doubt in your mind that you could have maybe made a mistake and just staked someone who was just dead and
we're talking about a supernatural being that can quickly change into mist or even another creature. A bat, for example, to use a cliche.
Yeah.
We're talking about something which does not in any way resemble a dead or a living person, but someone that belongs to the Twilight Zone.
Now, you have some photographs here
Not
of...
something.
Something?
Yeah.
You have some photographs here of vampires in states of decomposition, I believe. Is that one?
This is a re-representation that was used in one of my earlier publications.
So what is this? This would be a plasticine model or something you make, or?
No, that's simply a representation, an early one that we used in the death throes of.
It looks surprising. Like, have you ever seen Derek Jameson up close? Thank you.
Right. Well, I won't offer any argument over that.
Hey, but ladies and gentlemen, Derek Jameson is not, I repeat, not a vampire. Okay.
However, after that picture was used to represent what a vampire might look like in the last moments of exorcism, because of course up until then a picture is not obtainable, because vampires will not record on film until they are no longer vampires.
I'm sure.
They live in anti-time.
Hello, your sandwich, Mr. Aspel.
Lovely, thank you very much.
That'll be 12 pence, please, in new money.
Okay, well, I'll have to pay you later if that's okay. Can I send
all right?
I'm just conducting an interview.
Oh, of course it's all right. I tell you what, sir, since you're on the television, why don't you have it for nothing?
Thank you very much indeed.
We are on television now, aren't we?
What a kindly gentleman. Off you go. Goodbye. Off you go. Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Dear, oh dear. Well, Sean, it's been a lot of pleasure talking to you. It certainly has, and it's certainly an education as well. I'm not 100% convinced, but...
Well, that's the real vampire there.
Oh, we have a photograph of a real vampire?
Oh, that's the real one.
Well, this...
Moments after it had been staked.
Got a bit of bacon sandwich on him at the moment, but...
Unfortunately, but...
It does look a bit like Lloyd Cole, doesn't it, from last week's show?
Able to catch that on film after it has returned to normal time. It's no longer in its undead
I'm very
state.
glad you did. That's marvellous. Well, listen, carry on staking, as they would say. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sean Manchester. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, I believe we're just pulling in to a station. I better go and have a check and see which one it is, so you've got to come with me, yeah? Oh, what a nice fellow that buffet chap was. There we go. Let's have a look and see exactly where we're pulling up to, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, good heavens, it's Milton Keynes. And if that doesn't sound like a good excuse for a commercial break, I don't know what does. Join us afterwards when I'll be chatting to Paula Yates and we'll have music from Mark E. Smith. Ooh. I believe we are arriving at Coventry now, ladies and gentlemen. So that brings us to the end of this week's whale-biting edition of 1 Hour Jonathan. Well, thanks to all my guests, of course, the effervescent Paula Yates. Who else do we have? Slim Gaillard earlier on, we had Mark E. Smith, we had Mary Coughlin, we had Sean Manchester, and we had, of course, Tony Benn. Thanks very much for watching. Good night, and please bear in mind, when other chat shows go to the Wales, you saw it here first, because this is television of the future now, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for watching. Good night. amazing what you can do in a studio, isn't it, Steve?
Line and commentary, 52 minutes.
Yeah. But it's amazing what you do in a studio, isn't it?
Yeah, mind that camera.
Early knife, as always.